definition of partnership that we're operating from is not tied to gender. So just want to be really clear about that in terms of how we're navigating this conversation, that we are not defining them one and the same, and recognizing that partnership is not specifically tied to a man and a woman. So I just want to be clear about that. As we are thinking about that, if you could give us an example, because I think you just named one strategy of I had to recognizing that it looks like there was different roles, or recognizing what roles to play when.
Correct.
Right? Of like, I'm not the person, what I heard you say is I'm not best positioned to be his coach, to coach him through his mindset.
Correct. And who wants to coach their husband? Anybody? Nobody. Or husbands who wants to coach their wives. We don't want to do that, right? And so, I recognize the significance of who he is. One of the things that I hold very dear to my heart for every single person that I come into contact with, but especially for my husband, my goal is to see them the way that God sees them. And so in order to effectively see him the way that God sees him, I had to recognize the role that I am to play for him to be the best version of himself. And that means I need to be an edifier and a supporter, and not somebody who passes down the law and the way it's gonna be, because I just knew that wouldn't get us anywhere. And I wanted to truly be in partnership. Like, I think one of the challenges and one of the differences between some of you in the audience and myself, I'm going to be married 6 years, November 11th. Many of you got married in college or right out of college, and you've grown up with your spouse or your partner. And so you contend with them knowing you win when you were talking a good game but not doing what you said you wanted to do. And so because of that difference, we were able to come into our relationship as partners from the beginning. And so I've never had a situation where I needed to ask for permission, because we've always been partners. And some of you, your dynamic is different. And so as a result of that, you feel like you need to go and ask for permission instead of support and partnership. And if that is the dynamic that you're in, the way that you have to play things are different. For example, let's say that there's anything that you want to do and your spouse is not with you when you make the decision. Now, likely in your home, you have a rule. If let's say it's a spending threshold. If we're going to spend anything more than X, we need to have a conversation about it, right? Anybody have something like that in their house? I mean, we have it in ours, right? And when you go to have that conversation based on your come from of needing permission instead of talking to your partner, the way you approach it might be different.